We're shaking, folks. Back with another reaction, back with some more Magne F. And I wanted to start by giving a massive shout out and hug to the AHA family. Not only was the response to my watch along to the AHA movie, or the AHA the movie, very enjoyable to see and informative, and I'm still sorting through everything. But it really just drove home what a community has been forged together. Again, part of it is me going on the deep dive, but also part of it is everyone eventually becoming part of it and commenting. And I know there were a number of people who didn't comment right away and then eventually began commenting after a few videos. And I talk a lot about like Sophia and Graham because I'm always in email correspondence with them, but the comments again, overall, and especially in response to the movie, from Eleanor, from Allison, from the Master, AHA Butterfly, Mark. I mean, honestly, the number of people in the AHA family who've made me feel like I've developed a genuine group of friends who can help me explore this incredible group's catalog, it just was driven home through that AHA movie reaction. And I have to say, I'm gonna post, I'm thinking I may just do a video. I was thinking I was gonna post like a long pinned comment in all the different places, like both the full video here on YouTube, which most people can't see, the teaser video on YouTube, which everybody can see, and then also on Patreon. But yeah, I just keep having like more and more thoughts, and some of them are crystallizing, some of them are sort of evolving. Like what I thought right after the movie is at least slightly different from what I've thought now a couple days later. But given how much I feel like I have to say, I figure I'll just do a video. So I don't know exactly when that will be, but hopefully by the end of the week or the end of the weekend at the least. And yeah, ultimately, I just feel like very appreciative, and ultimately, I know a number of people have said the same about like me going on this journey. So the fact that we're all feeling thankful to each other, I think is just a testament to the group of people that this deep dive has brought together, which is itself a testament to AHA, right? So in any case, more to say on that very soon for me. In the meantime, we're going to listen to Mags. We're going to go back to his White Xmas Lies album. No, see, you can't, after I do this long introduction, you cannot knock things over. That's what you cannot do. She's going to attack my feet. I 100% she's like doing that little fish maneuver so that she can come attack my feet. Regardless, we're going back to his White Xmas Lies album, and we're up to the very intriguing Ghost of Xmas Past. I'm a huge fan of the Christmas Carol story. This is obviously an overt reference to that, but as to how this may relate to Mags or his holiday experiences, or at least conceptualizing of the holidays in a different way than is typically done, how that may play into this tune, we shall have to see. I mean, this one. But yeah, before she tears everything down, let's listen to it. Either way, I'm wondering whether this will make overt reference to A Christmas Carol beyond just the title, or whether it'll build off that concept but bring it into the real world, so to speak. Either way, let's find out. This is Magne F from his 2019 album White Xmas Lies, and it's called The Ghost of Xmas Past. this was in a movie of A Christmas Carol, it would be the coolest, most artistic version I've ever seen. And talk about capturing, if I'm reading this right, the essence of that concept that goes to the past, the things that you've done that maybe you would change, the things that meant a lot to you but maybe you've forgotten about, things that characterized a more loving time of your life that maybe seems so distant now. It really hit that sort of feeling. So again, maybe there's some psychological extrapolation happening there, but yeah, as a piece of score, it's amazing. I mentioned, in a number of different videos, and some people will be aware of it directly, but I do reactions to like Japanese drama, J-drama scores, because I think a number of shows I've seen over the year have these like crazy good score that could slot into some of my favorite shows in that regard, like perfectly. Again, there's some like detective drama shows I know where you could put that in a scene. It's like, oh man, like, is he gonna figure out the clues? Is he gonna be able to learn something? So it's amazing the way instrumental music can be so evocative that your brain can like start telling stories. I mean, not only do I think from a very young age classical music sort of had that effect on me, but part of the reason that I came to love a lot of electronic music is because, there might be samples, there might even be some vocals, but by and large a lot of tunes are instrumental. That like your brain can do with it what you see fit. And yeah, ultimately score can be like that too. So a really cool tune by Mags, really well produced, the strings, especially like those cellos, which again, I'm assuming that's like synth cello. I mean, I shouldn't assume anything. Ultimately, their level of instrumentation, all the guys in the group, is clearly something that's, been around since they were young, but ultimately, I think, I wouldn't be surprised to learn that they use actual strings, or that Mags was, creating that lush sound through his expertise on the keyboards, which was never something he saw. Like, everything that I'm thinking about now in relation to songs and reactions I've done is more greatly informed by what I saw in that, like, hour and 40-minute movie. And indeed, I came away from it, and you'll hear more about this when I do this video, having, if possible, like an even more positive opinion of all three guys, even if I understand their feelings of, their misgivings, their tensions, and so on. And again, this is something I'm going to talk about, where, again, I walked away from it just thinking, like, wow, we're so lucky to have gotten what we've gotten from them. They've worked harder and with more tension and stress to produce what we've gotten from them, a point Carrie was making, and it just makes me all the more appreciative. But one thing I will say, Paul has this idea about songwriting where it's about the lyrics and it's about the melodic lead, or whether that's a guitar or whatever. And if you're not writing that, then you're dressing a table in different ways. You're taking a finished product and you're putting different style on it. You're trying different things with it, presentation, maybe like arrangement relative to other things, but you're not really writing it. And he uses the example of like, oh, well, you came up with a bass line, so now you get a songwriting credit, and he's saying it in a sort of dismissive or at least skeptical way. And it's amazing to me when I think about, number one, how strongly I felt about the bass lines in their first couple albums. I'm sure you people remember, I was like, dude, the synth bass in their tracks is crazy. It's lively, it's dynamic, it's capturing my attention like every time. And here in the track, there were a couple moments where this bass line coming in deeper and more powerfully than in the previous measure, it adds drama, it kicks the tune up a degree, and it's like, oh my gosh, like, that made a big difference. So the idea that like just working on bass lines means that you haven't really created a tune, or that you haven't written it in a meaningful sense, I'm with Mags. I feel like in that regard he maybe hasn't gotten as much credit as he deserved, because his work behind those keyboards, doing that synth bass, doing those melodies, it meant a lot to why I fell in love with this group, and it ultimately means a lot when I listen to his solo music. I'm getting like emotional talking about this. So yeah, ultimately, I think it's a disservice to Mags or to, the idea of songwriting in general, that it's only in this narrow, restricted way, and that if you've contributed some major part, which, to me, a bass line like that, it is a leg of the table. It's not a tablecloth. It's a part of it, and it's a part that, for someone coming from my musical interest and tastes, it's a crucial part. It's a part that really, like, hey, like, these guys, okay, Morton's got his voice, and ultimately, Paul's, doing his guitar riffs, and ultimately, as I would find out in the 90s, like, some of what I was hearing from them is kind of where he wanted to go, and it's like I'm making sense of all this, but part of that process was like, man, their electronic sounds, the synth work, the bass lines, like this is an amazing group, and I didn't, knowing, of course, that there was more to learn, like going into it, it wasn't something where I quite realized the like synth, the keyboard, like quality of the group, which yeah, obviously, even if he didn't want to be that person initially, I think Mags has filled that role incredibly well. So I'm babbling. This is, again, going to be a product of the AHA-related reactions for the immediate future, no doubt. Again, I know there's other videos, other documentaries, so much more to say, but yeah, obviously my appreciation for this group has gone to another level, which is not surprising. Like, I've been watching Depeche Mode and listening to them for 40 years just about, and when I did the reactions or the watch-alongs for those first 3 documentaries in a series, of which there are still multiple more, it was like, God, I love this group, and it just makes me feel that even more strongly. So yeah, just really enjoying being an AHA fan, which people have mentioned at different points that, like, I feel like you can say that now. You can say that, you're one of us and so on. I've been hesitant because I don't, there's people who've been listening to this band for, 35, 40 years, just about. So, yeah, like, I've been hesitant, but I feel like, it's getting to the point where, like, it's part of my musical life in ways that, like, if it's Depeche, if it's acid techno, if it's punk rock, I'm like, I love it. That's like, that's part of what I do. That's part of what I listen to. So, anyway, I'll stop babbling. Let me know what you think. Luca, who's now calm as a tranquil dolphin floating on the surface of the sea, she wishes you a great day as well. Except that I'm back again. You know why? Because I realized, like, as soon as I stopped filming the video, that I mentioned a number of people up front, and in the moment I'm even forgetting exactly who I mentioned, but I know I forgot some people who I've been commenting with and interacting with for weeks, months, more than a year. So shout out to Margie, shout out to Shell, shout out to Sylvie, who actually recently joined on Patreon. You are so very much appreciated. Honestly, like, the whole AHA family, like, as I continue to go more and more through the process of discovering everything that this band has done, the personal touch of the people involved in helping me in different ways, again, whether it's, Sophia making sure I don't forget things and, just helping me go through everything in an organized way, or ultimately people bringing information like Graham, who was talking after I did the watch along about the way that the band was perceived by someone like John Barry, or the way that they would go about shooting True North given the experience of the film and so on, and again, Sophia providing all sorts of information like that. Honestly, I just can't stress enough how much I appreciate the AHA family. So again, there's some crucial names that I'm probably forgetting here, but as soon as I ended the film, I was like, oh, I didn't mention Margie, and I didn't mention Shell, and there were other people, again, Sylvie, where I was like, oh, she has recently gone the extra step of supporting me in this journey. So ultimately, you people are awesome. Like, every day it's something I think about now, whether it's, preparing to shoot a Savoy or a Mags or a Morton or on AHA proper. Yeah, you're basically part of my daily life now. So, not my daily knife. I don't have a daily knife. Yeah, so again, I will continue to babble, but you guys are amazing. Shout out to all of you. Let me know what you think. I will see you next time. Peace.